Hello all my lovely doves, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Esther, and for today we're going to be going over study hacks from a straight A student. As we all know, it's currently exam season and we're all kind of just stressing out to get the best scores that we can on our tests or on exams, and also to just finish this year strong. If you're struggling with any of those, or you really just want to get your dream score or your dream grade and finish this year on a good note, then hopefully this video finds you and just helps you accomplish that. So these are some tips that have definitely helped me when it's time to crunch and when I have tests in a couple of days, even the next day or even a couple of blocks before then. Tip number one is finding a good study place. Any place for your distraction is perfect. I recommend coffee shops or libraries because being in a productive and studious environment ultimately pushes you to be productive and studious as well. As you can kind of see, I'm in the library, and it was honestly a really good place to kind of push me into being productive and to kind of just drift away any excuses that I have. When you kind of see people around doing something, you kind of want to follow that lead as well. That's why a lot of people ultimately say kind of having good friends and those would influence you. This is kind of the same thing with having a very studious environment, and that would influence you as well. In case you don't have time to kind of leave the house and find like a cafe or a library or anything such as that, or you just want to stay home, which I totally get, I recommend just setting up your study materials on a table and sitting upright on a chair, because I kind of realized that when you're sitting on the bed and kind of doing work, you're most likely to kind of fall asleep. I also recommend that if you're studying at home, to definitely put your phone away from you and have it kind of turned off or even across the room. And that kind of brings me to my next segment, which is how to limit distractions. So as I mentioned, your phone kind of having that away from you, or even putting it on airplane mode, which with that disconnects the Wi-Fi, so you're not able to kind of receive any notifications or use any of the apps. I think that's kind of a really good thing. You can also put your devices on do not disturb. I think that's a kind of common one that everybody knows. If you're taking breaks in between study session, one recommendation that I have is to set kind of time limits on your social media ones or even your games, like whichever apps that you can set like a 30-minute time limit on them, and it'll kind of shut off that one. The only downside to that is that you can easily ignore it, but I'm pretty sure that you can set passcodes on them. Now moving on to the actual study hacks and kind of how to study smarter but not harder. 1. While studying, I kind of like to read or recite the information out loud. I've just noticed that it kind of helps with memorization. Along with that, there's also something called the recall method. And with that, you basically just either if you're watching something or if you're kind of reading something, you kind of take breaks in between and recite what it kind of says, but in your own words. Now you can do that kind of reciting out loud or writing it down, or even doing both. I've realized that kind of writing it down or doing both is kind of just the best option to go with. 2. When taking notes, one thing that I kind of recommend people to do is to beautify them and make them very like aesthetically pleasing, and don't get distracted about like what font style or highlighters to use. That habit though kind of makes it easier for you to review things and kind of motivates you to do so. Another tip that I have is to do practice questions. Helps with better retention and test performance, and it kind of applies to what you've learned or what skills or kind of what key concepts you've learned. 4. Use flashcards. These are extremely helpful for retention and memory. It's also super convenient as you can study essentially everywhere with them. You can just have them either on a keychain, or you can even use online flashcards. Like the one that I have is Anki app, which I've used to study vocabs, and those are like 50 plus vocabs, and I've used them to just study for like a quiz or a test. It's like really help, and it's kind of fun to do that along with friends and to kind of have somebody help you go through those cards as well. You can obviously just choose to do the traditional flashcards, which I think have an extra boost of retention because you're kind of writing down and also rewriting information. Helps with memorization. Okay, that was it for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Please, if you have any video recommendations or any even other study tips that you want to share with this community, please comment down below. Subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video as well. And I hope you have a very, very precious day. Love, Esther.